It is Obi-Wan Kenobi Wednesday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. This morning, let us play with the latest iteration of Heart of Meditation. I'm going to take a moment to copy this. And we're going to, here we go. Excellent. Thank you for your patience. Let us begin with the first quarter of the Heart of Wisdom Sutra, compiled, adapted, and amplified from traditional sources by yours truly. Allow me to point out the coding for you. When something is in standard size, that's from the traditional sources. When it's in standard sized and italicized, I'm using a synonym. I'm replacing one word with a similar word to increase comprehension. When I've added brackets and using an italicized word in a smaller font, that's me amplifying the text. I do not do this out of self-importance, but out of a desire to ensure comprehension from those who are hanging out with me during the live stream. Let's together chant. It is said that Quan Chi and Pu saw an archetype of love and letting go, while moving in the deep peace of the perfect understanding of awareness and release. With each inhalation she shed light on the five aggregates, and as she relaxed into her exhalation found them equally as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn. After this realization, she made peace with all pain. Listen, Shariputra, form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Form does not differ from emptiness, emptiness does not differ from form. The same is true with feeling, appraisal, impulse, and awareness. Together as a team, let us play with the first quarter of mindful crease counting meditation. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we could advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Multiply this by 8 sets and you have 96 inhalations. We can count those 8 sets on our left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of 12 inhalations each. To keep track of this, our first quarter, we can rest the great knuckle at the base of our right little finger, upon the tip of our left little finger, palms up in our lap. Please chant with, I take that back. Let us take a moment to demystify enlightenment. It has been said that to the jaundiced man, snow appears yellow. Similarly, when we receive the definitions of spiritual terminology from those who are rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel, their worldview will be reflected in their explanation. Therefore, I recommend receiving explanations from those whose worldview is flexible, loving, rational, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. What if enlightenment was nothing mystical or elitist, but available for all? What if enlightenment was simply mastering of the Buddha's Eightfold Path? What do we mean by mastery? Getting so good at it that we are able to practice it spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. The Buddha taught that it is possible to master his path in as little as a week. The reason for that is that when we play with the seventh fold, which is mindfulness, and the eighth fold, which is meditation, the remaining six folds of the Buddha's eightfold path could take care of themselves. In light of the importance of mindfulness and meditation, let us view them through the lens of neuroscience. After approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I've spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that you will not have to. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. Let us begin by taking a deep view of mindfulness. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we are wired by evolution to automatically access the sympathetic nervous system found in the middle third of our spinal cord. This bad boy has evolved to help us to notice in a very special way. To help us notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly, which I'm sure you agree is the opposite of the rigidity of concentration. But what is it that we have evolved to notice? We have evolved to notice mind's antics of perception. You know, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like, such as emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. Now, this is a whole bunch of things going on at the same time, almost as if I'm asking you to ride a unicycle backwards while chewing bubblegum. Is there an easy way to practice it? Yeah, sure, you betcha. Every time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we gently coax our cerebral cortex out of its habit of opposing the sympathetic nervous system and instead persuade it to gently cooperate with the sympathetic nervous system. The question remains, what do we do with that which we notice? Whether that which we notice is external or internal, physical or mental, pleasurable or painful, interesting or boring, glorious or grotesque, what do we do with it? This takes us to a concise explanation of meditation. Every time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, our body relaxes and our mind releases to such a degree that what we noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as a vast, empty void. Ask an English teacher and they'll tell you a simile is only as effective as it is relatable. Therefore, we must ask, what? What is a real-world example of a non-graspable, vast, empty void? How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although could be tantalizing to the eye, is non-graspable to the hand? And now, allow me to illustrate what I already promised you. That simply by playing with mindfulness and meditation, we enhance, we deepen our familiarization with the figurative emptiness that supports letting go. In light of the importance of mindfulness and meditation, together let's practice as a team right now. Welcome to the second quarter of the Heart of Wisdom Sutra. Let's chant. Listen, Shariputra, phenomena are marked with emptiness. There is neither desire nor dread that once perceived cannot be released. Neither protection nor destruction that once perceived cannot be released. Neither purification nor corruption that once perceived cannot be released. Neither increasing nor decreasing that once perceived cannot be released. Ever in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no appraisal, no impulse and no awareness that once perceived cannot be released. So, form is a fancy word for body. Feeling is our experience of pleasure and pain. Appraisal is our experience of the volume of the pleasure or pain, our intensity. Impulse is our instinctual survival. Impulse is our survival instinct response to pleasure and pain. And awareness, if all these things were football players, then awareness would be the pitch upon which they are playing. No sensation, no flavor, no sound, no sound, no sight, no phenomena that once perceived cannot be released. No body, no tongue, no nose, no ears, no eyes, no mind that once perceived cannot be released. Let's make this 2, 3, 18. No feeling, no tasting, no smelling, no hearing, no seeing, no noticing that once perceived cannot be released. Excuse me. Woof. All class, all the time. Welcome to the second quarter of Mindful Crease Counting Meditation. During the span of 12 inhalations, we could advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Multiply this by 8 sets and you get 96. We could count those 8 sets on our left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of 12 inhalations each. To keep track of this, our second quarter, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger, upon the tip of our left ring finger, palms up in our lap. We're going to we're going to begin with a bit of review. What's the easiest way to practice mindfulness? Silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during the inhalation, that our sympathetic nervous system could facilitate, could help us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. And now let us explore the neuroscience of how to deal with all that which we notice. Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we are already wired by evolution to automatically access our parasympathetic nervous system, which is divided between the lower third and the upper third of our spinal cord. This parasympathetic nervous system has evolved to support both physical relaxation as well as mental release. When we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we gently induce our cerebral cortex to suspend its conflict with the parasympathetic nervous system and instead cooperate with it, thus helping us to so release what we noticed during our previous inhalation, that they fleetingly feel less tantalizing, less permanent, and less defining. And again, simply playing with mindfulness and meditation every 12 hours or so affects the first fold of the Buddha's eightfold path, awakening within us a deep familiarization with a literal impermanence that supports our mental release. In view of the importance of mindfulness and meditation, together as a team, let us play with this and ease in harmony with our inhalation and exhalation to facilitate noticing and releasing. And allow me to remind you that every time we inhale, we are wired to generate a vertical traction between our tush and our head. Every time we exhale, that traction can be released, at least in part. Welcome to the third quarter of the Heart of Wisdom Sutra. No interdependent origins and no extinction of them. From confusion to aging and death that once perceived cannot be released. No stress, no confusion, no liberation, no path, no understanding, no attainment that once perceived cannot be released. Because there is no attainment that once perceived cannot be released. That should be over here. Because there is no attainment that once perceived cannot be released. The Bodhisattva archetypes of awareness and release supported by perception and release is perfection of understanding. Find no obstacles for the minds that once perceived cannot be released. Having no obstacles that once perceived cannot be released, they transcend the tyranny of fear. Liberating themselves forever from the tyranny of illusion and realizing perfect nirvana. All Buddhas of the past, present, and future, thanks to this perfect understanding of noticing and releasing, arrive at full right and universal enlightenment. Welcome to the third quarter of Mindful Crease Counting Meditation. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we can advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Multiply these 12 inhalations, by 8 sets, and you wind up with 96 inhalations. We could keep track of those 8 sets upon our left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of 12 inhalations each. To keep track of this, our third quarter, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger upon the tip of our left middle finger, palms up in our lap. Allow me to remind you that Sturgeon's Law teaches that 90% of everything sucks, and not in the fun, tingly way. Since the Neolithic Revolution, society has been indoctrinating us, conditioning us to be so rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel that when even a minority rebel and instead try to be flexible, loving, rational, laid-back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind, the members of patriarchy respond with derision. Therefore, it should come as little surprise that when these people try to teach meditation, they do so from a rigid and controlling paradigm. When these people teach meditation, they implore their students to actively concentrate and actively analyze, relying upon the only neural pathways that are evolved to perform those functions, which are found in the medial prefrontal cortex or the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Overworking these areas, they trigger their amygdala, the seat of anxiety and aggression. Recognizing the folly of aggression these same people will then, ironically enough, rely on further focus and further analysis in hopes of mastering love. At best, that generates there's a word that begins with A. It means something like but not the same, something like but less than. Analog. So they generate only an analog of love, flaccid and worthless and weak. How, like a cat, like a curious cat whose head is now stuck in an empty bag of Doritos, how do we back our way out of this? Through the dynamo of mindfulness and meditation. Every time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, our sympathetic nervous system empowers us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination, including anxiety and aggression. Every time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, thanks to our parasympathetic nervous system, we physically relax and mentally release to the point that what we noticed during our previous inhalation becomes fleetingly less tantalizing, less permanent, and less defining, including our anxiety and aggression. Therefore, playing with mindfulness and meditation not only calms or reduces the intensity of our anxiety and aggression, but it reduces the sway, the hold, the tyranny it exercises over our choices and utterances and deeds. But wait, there's more. Play with mindfulness and meditation every 12 hours or so, and we stimulate our anterior cingulate gyrus, the structure that it kind of looks like the letter C. This thing has evolved to function as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy, the key to love and compassion. The highest love is the spontaneous, uncontrived, effortless byproduct of mindfulness and meditation. And that's really important because according to the Buddha, empathy, love, compassion are spiritual barometers. If we concentrate and analyze in a way to become a cranky bastard, then just as Bugs Bunny said to Daffy Duck, we've taken a wrong turn in Albuquerque. But if the way we practice mindfulness and meditation fills us, guides our intention along the path of kind intention, kind communication, kind conduct, and commerce that is as cooperative as it is kind, and we are on the right path. After all, loving kindness constitutes 50% of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. The entirety of our pratimoksha vows and bodhisattva vows is found in simply practicing loving kindness. And loving kindness owes its genesis and maintenance simply to mindfulness, meditation. So together, as a team, let us practice right now. Welcome to the fourth quarter of the Heart of Wisdom Sutra. Please chant with me. Therefore, take a little bit faster. Therefore, one should know that this perfect understanding of noticing and releasing is like a great mantra, is like an unequaled mantra, the destroyer of the tyranny of all suffering, the incorruptible truth. A mantra Prajnaparamita is perfect wisdom of awareness and release could therefore be proclaimed. This is the mantra Gate Gate Pare Gate Parasam Gate Bodhiswaha. Release, release completely and perfectly release into enlightenment, may it be so. Welcome to the fourth quarter of Mindful Crease Counting Meditation. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we could articulate or advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Multiply this by 8 sets and you'll have 96 inhalations. We could count those 8 sets upon our left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of 12 inhalations each. To keep track of this, our fourth quarter, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger upon the tip of our left index finger, palms up in our lap. We'll begin with a bit of review. When we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, our sympathetic nervous system helps us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. It also helps us to notice that of all those things we perceive, some we prefer, some we dread. We also notice that we resist the absence of what we desire. And we also notice that we resist the presence of what we dread. What are we to do with all this? Whoopsie. When we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verbies during our exhalation, our parasympathetic nervous system helps us to so physically relax and mentally release. Let's try this again. Helps us to physically relax and mentally release that which we noticed during our previous inhalation, including that which we desired and that which we dreaded. It could also help us to release our resistance to the absence of desire and help us release our resistance to the presence of what we dread. Now, at first blush, it could seem like we're being invited or perhaps coerced to becoming kind of like a doormat, kind of setting ourselves up to have life scrape its mucky boots all over us for the rest of our lives. However, the more we play with mindfulness and meditation every 12 hours or so, the more we could notice our choices and utterances and deeds flowing from the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity, which should not be confused with the scattered spontaneity we can sample after our fourth espresso, but rather the centered spontaneity that flows from our mindfulness and meditation. This could be described by many terms, including going with the flow, or perhaps surfing our Buddha nature. Buddha nature is just a charming Iron Age way of describing the fact that enlightenment does not seem to be an elitist phenomena. It seems to be an egalitarian capability. And now, in our digital age, thanks to wondrous mechanisms like the functional magnetic resonance imaging device, we've been able to establish that every healthy human's sympathetic nervous system is wired for mindfulness. Every healthy human's parasympathetic nervous system is wired for meditation. Every healthy human's anterior cingulate gyrus is wired for empathy, which is exactly why also 26 centuries ago, the Buddha was able to promise that we could all master his path in as little as a week. So together as a team, let us play with mindfulness and meditation. Pardon me. You have taken your first steps into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 3 hours or so, I would absolutely love to return to lead today's mid-morning meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.